Nuclear weapons. They are the most destructive single tool humanity has ever created. The first and only time they were ever used in combat was in 1945. That year, the United States first dropped the atomic bomb Little Boy on Hiroshima, followed by a second bomb, Fat Man, on Nagasaki. Single-handedly, these bombs utterly devastated two of Japan's major urban centers. Soon after, the Japanese surrendered to the Allied forces in their new, cruel bomb, thus ending World War II. The development of these weapons changed the rules of warfare forever. Suddenly, a single bomb was able to achieve a level of destruction previously only possible by conducting massive conventional air raids, which required hundreds of planes, thousands of soldiers, and tens of thousands of conventional bombs. The United States managed to create nuclear weapons first, and naturally, it was keen on preventing any other state from acquiring them as well, and especially the Soviet Union. Nonetheless, by 1949, the Soviets managed to build their own atomic bomb with the help of a little espionage, creating the nuclear standoff between the two superpowers, which would go on to define the Cold War era. But the spread of these weapons did not end there, and eventually more and more nations managed to acquire the necessary technology. Today, the United States, Russia, China, the United Kingdom, France, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea are all known to possess nuclear weapons. The proliferation of nuclear weapons has been a major concern for the international community for a long time, and for good reason. As destructive as the bombs thrown on Hiroshima and Nagasaki were, they pale in comparison with the power of the nuclear bombs developed in the following decades. As such, any conflict involving nuclear weapons would yield devastating results for people and environment alike, even if only a few were to detonate. To mitigate this threat, the vast majority of states ratified the so-called Non-proliferation Treaty, which came into effect in 1970 and is still in effect today. Its declared goals are to prevent the further spread of nuclear weapons, to encourage nuclear disarmament among the already existing nuclear powers, and to instead promote the peaceful use of nuclear energy. This treaty was indeed relatively successful in its goals despite certain setbacks. In 1970, when the treaty came into effect, experts predicted that by 1990, the number of states in possession of nuclear weapons would climb to about 30. But even today, the number remains at only 9, for now. The treaty was created with the goal to preserve world peace. The fewer the number of nuclear powers and nuclear weapons overall, the smaller the chances for a nuclear war, so the logic. But is this really the best strategy to preserve world peace? Meet this man, Kenneth Waltz, one of the most prominent political scientists of the last century. He popularized the so-called nuclear peace theory, which advocates for the exact opposite. Instead of preventing the spread of nuclear weapons, we should slowly spread them to more and more states. While it does sound like a ludicrous idea at first, it is worth exploring further. The simplified argument for nuclear peace theory goes as follows. Nuclear weapons are the ultimate tool of deterrence, and as such, their very existence can be used to prevent war. Let's say we have two states, A and B, which are in conflict with each other. If state A is in possession of such weapons, it becomes highly unlikely to be attacked by state B, as it fears a nuclear strike, which would be a too costly price to pay in war. If both states are in possession of nuclear weapons, this deterrence becomes applicable both ways. Now, both have to fear a nuclear strike if they were to attack the other, drastically increasing the cost of war to an unbearable amount. This situation is what is known as mutually assured destruction, or short M.A.D, and lies at the heart of nuclear peace theory. It creates a stable balance of terror, which ensures peace between the nuclear powers through fear. If nuclear weapons were to be slowly distributed to more states, it would mean that this balance of terror would guide the behavior of more and more states, eventually making war an unviable option for all. Therefore, Mr. Waltz believes that more nuclear weapons, not less, would be better for ensuring global peace. Nonetheless, this argument has its problems as well. Critics of the nuclear peace theory argue that this system can only work if we assume states to be rational actors at all time. Rational actors are able to recognize a threat and react to it accordingly. However, states are run by humans, and humans are not entirely rational. Our rationality can be blinded, for instance, by deceit, emotions, or disease. There is always the possibility that through an unfortunate chain of events, somebody in control of nuclear weapons stops acting rationally. This would cause the nuclear deterrence mechanism to fail, which could then enable a nuclear strike. Another concern for critics of nuclear peace is the threat of nuclear weapons falling into the wrong hands, for example terrorists. Some rogue states may decide that giving such a weapon to a terrorist group could be beneficial, maybe because their political goals align, or maybe simply for financial gain. But there is another issue which may actually be a bigger concern than the last two: the constant threat of nuclear mishaps. Humans make mistakes, and oh boy, have we made mistakes involving nuclear weapons in the past. In 1961, a United States B-52 bomber carrying 2 nuclear bombs crashed over North Carolina in an event known as the Goldsboro crash. Unclassified documents published in 2013 revealed that one of these bombs came dangerously close to a full-scale nuclear detonation, as almost all the safety switches failed. A similar incident occurred in 1966 over Spain, when yet another B-52 bomber carrying 4 nuclear hydrogen bombs crashed over Almeria. Fortunately, none of the bombs was brought to full nuclear detonation. However, 2 of the bombs had the conventional explosives go up, which caused the nearby town of Palomares to be contaminated by radioactive material. And if you think that such accidents are rare, you should think again. Wikipedia has a decent list of such nuclear mishaps, which gives you an idea of how often nuclear weapons have been mistakenly dropped, sunk, or even outright lost. And who knows how many incidents there actually are, since most of them are likely to be classified. We are indeed very lucky that until now we did not witness a nuclear bomb go off by accident. But if nuclear weapons were to be distributed to even more states across the globe, the probability of such tragedy would increase significantly. Since the end of the Cold War, nuclear weapons have left the public consciousness for the most part. However, this does not mean that this issue has disappeared. We should remember from time to time that nuclear weapons are still a reality and ask ourselves how we should deal with them to not have yet another Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Are nuclear weapons the curse which has inevitably doomed civilization, or are they a blessing which will put an end to war if embraced? Tell me what you think in the comment section below. This video is part of Atomic August, a cooperation with 3 other small YouTubers who focus on politics and history. I highly recommend you check them out, links are in the comment section and in the video description. My next video on the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict was unfortunately delayed, but will be out sometime in September. Thank you all so much for the support I've received. I'm beyond grateful to have surpassed 1,500 subscribers. Anyway, if you're new here and like my content, consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.